August 31st. We've been making our way back up the coast this whole time, going on foot, stopping off at whatever beach town we're at before the sun goes down, collecting money for our fake basketball team, eating real food, then going back to the beach to sleep. We're easily pulling in enough money to survive now. The only problem is we're not really making enough to pay back the petty cash envelope that fast. Some days we only pull in like $10 and we gotta use most of that just to eat. But it's all good because this afternoon I came up with a new and improved plan. I thought it up after this old Mexican man in a sombrero handed me a dollar bill, and I thanked him so damn respectfully I actually bowed. I promise, man, I bowed. Dude didn't look like he had much, yet he found a dollar he could give me. But what it was is he reminded me of my gramps. Here's the new plan. Soon as we got back down to the beach with a big bag of Mexican food, I told Rondell, in a couple more days, man, me and you are taking a bus up to Fresno. He nodded and took another big-ass bite of his taco. I thought the guy would at least ask me why, but he didn't seem to care one way or the other. No more beaches, I told him. We're about to hit the fields. Didn't even look up at me. Yo, I told him, aren't you even curious about what we're going to do? He stopped chewing and turned to me. We locked eyes for a few long seconds. Then he swallowed and said, what we going to do? I shook my head, told him, you know what? I ain't even telling you. How come? Because you don't even care, man. I do care, Mexico. You don't care enough. Now you'll just have to wait and see when we get there. Okay, he said, and he unwrapped another taco, took a huge bite. I stared at him, shaking my head. I just hope you're good at leaning over all day, I said. What you mean? He said. Nothing, man. Forget it. He shrugged and took another supersized bite of taco. That's what seriously kills me about Rondell. You could tell him the greatest master plan anybody's ever invented, and he'd just nod at you and keep eating his taco. The guy totally lives for what's happening right that second. That's it. Bring up something a year from now, a month from now, a week from now, even a damn day from now, and it won't even register in his big-ass head. I used to think that had to do with his learning disabilities or whatever, but now I'm not so sure. Maybe it's better if you live in the moment. Rondell's easily one of the happiest people I've ever met, even with all the bad shit that he's had to deal with in his childhood. Me, on the other hand, I get stuck on the past, especially my life in Stockton. I don't know if I could ever move past what happened. Mong even said so himself when we were in that cave by Santa Cruz. He said it's like I want to punish myself. If that's true, man, no wonder I'm not as happy as Rondell. We're both dealing with the same shit on the day-to-day, but it's like only one of us is actually here experiencing it. Him. Sometimes I feel like I'm only halfway alive. But at the same time, man, you gotta look far enough ahead so you could make a plan, right? Or else you'll never even move off your damn spot on the beach. I thought about that for a while and then said to Rondell, hey man, you know what I bet? He finished dribbling salsa into his fourth taco and looked up at me. I bet if some scientists took half of my outlook and half of your outlook, they'd come up with a perfect balance of how people should see the world. He tossed his salsa container into the paper bag and stared at me, trying to figure out what I meant. Go ahead, Rondo, say it. Say what? He said. What you mean by that, Mexico? What you mean? Hey, why you call me Mexico, Mexico? I was just saying what you were going to say. Rondell got a concerned look on his face. That don't make no sense. And why are you bringing up science for? I shrugged my shoulders and ate the last bite of my taco. It doesn't even matter, Rondo, I said. I was just talking about the different ways people think. After a full minute of silence, he nodded and patted me on the shoulder, said, nah, you ain't got to worry about nothing like that, Mexico. Just got to believe in God. Yeah, I said, it's that easy? That's how my auntie always said it. I shook my head, shot back. You're always talking about what other people think, God or your auntie or your parents. I want to know what you think. He just sat there staring at the sand. After half a minute or so, he turned his head to me like he was going to say something, but nothing came out of his mouth. I laughed at the confused look on his face. Don't worry, Ro. You know how I didn't go to Mexico? He interrupted. Yeah. I could tell by his eyes that he flipped his brain into a high-ass gear. His shit was working its ass off trying to come up with something to say. You could damn near see steam coming out of his ears. He nodded and said, do you even know why I didn't go be a fisherman? Why I found you instead? Why? I had to make sure you was okay, Mexico. We looked at each other, and then I looked down at my wrapper and crumbled it up, threw it in the bag with the rest of our trash. Wasn't God who told me to do it either, he said. It was me, Rondell. I didn't answer him. I just laughed for some reason, got his big ass in a tight headlock and squeezed as hard as I could. Say mercy, I shouted in his ear. Say mercy and I'll let your sorry ass go, dog. Nah, he said back between his laughing. Say mercy, dog. Nah, Mexico. Say mercy. We both laughed, and finally he said, all right, mercy. I let him go. We were both still laughing when I got up and gathered all our trash together, walked it over to the trash can, and dropped it in. When I got back, Rondell was already laying with his head on his bag, eyes closed. I just stood there for a while, shaking my head, and then I saw him crack a smile, and we both laughed some more.